Howdy AP Hero folks, this is the first of what I hope will be a series of videos this year to try and remind us about some of the big concepts that we come across during the year. I thought we'd go back to the most tricky idea we talked about yesterday, and that was the annulment request that Henry VIII sends to Pope Clement VII to try and get rid of his wife Catherine of Aragon. Now Henry was a very powerful man, he was King of England. And he had married a very powerful woman. Catherine of Aragon was the daughter of Ferdinand and Isabella. She was the crown princess of Spain. She was a very, very powerful woman. Unfortunately, this marriage didn't produce the male heir that Henry thought he needed to keep the Tudor dynasty strong and reviving across England. Henry's answer? God was punishing him. Why was he being punished? He was being punished because when Henry married Catherine, he was in essence marrying his brother's widow. That's right, Henry's brother Arthur had been married to Catherine before Henry, briefly for about 3 months. And Henry thought that, citing Old Testament scripture, he was being punished by God for taking his brother's widow. When he sends the request to the Pope, Clement has a lot more to think about than just scripture. In a very real political world, the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, the nephew of Catherine, has threatened the Pope, saying that if his aunt is put aside, if she is in essence annulled, he is going to take action against the Pope. Now, he's done this before. In 1527, Charles V sacked Rome because the Pope was being too friendly to the French and not friendly enough to him. So certainly, Clement would have realized that that threat was real. Another problem he had to realize was the idea of infallibility. The prior pope had allowed this marriage only on the grounds that it was an exception. If the new pope, Clement VII, allowed the annulment, he would in essence be saying that the prior pope had made a mistake, and that does not go along well with Catholic theology. People like Luther would have loved to hear a pope admit that the Catholic Church had made a mistake, because then they could list off a whole list of others that they might. Also weighing in Clement's mind was the fact that he had already lost hundreds of thousands of Germans to the Protestant movement of Luther. Should he lose England, he would lose hundreds of thousands of more people. He would lose the church's lands in England. He would lose the taxes and the faithful people of England as well. And unfortunately, practicality won out here. He refused the annulment, and Henry made his own church, the Anglican Church, and promptly got rid of Catherine, married Anne Boleyn, and had Elizabeth. Hope that was helpful, folks. Have a good night.